I love it. Thank you guys so much. It is such an honor to be here. Such an honor. You know, so there is something that I have learned about Democrat politicians over the last 2 years that I have been in politics. Over these last 2 years, where they have tried and failed miserably to paint me as someone who is anti-Black and anti-women. In case you guys haven't noticed, I am, in fact, a Black woman. I've learned from these experiences that Democrat leaders create noise and nonsense to distract from their own sins. They employ the idea that you should accuse the other side of exactly what you are guilty of. They do this consistently, they do this repeatedly, and they do this in lockstep with one another. For example, yesterday, Joe Biden, in a stunning announcement, declared his candidacy for president of 2020 because he felt that our nation was at risk because of white supremacy. Joe mentioned the Charlottesville attacks again, the one where our president clearly and specifically condemned both Nazis and white supremacists, words which the media carefully edited out. But Joe says that that's the moment, Charlottesville, that's the moment that he realized that he had to step up and save the nation. Now, why would Joe do that? Why would Joe Biden suggest that he needed to step out as an act of duty to protect Black Americans? What is it that Joe Biden is distracting from when he insinuates that all of the freedom-loving American patriots who stand beside this president are somehow supporting a white supremacist agenda? I think I have a couple of ideas what he might be distracting from. Joe is distracting from his very own and very questionable history with Black America. You see, it was Joe Biden that advocated for segregation in the 1970s. He said it was something that Black people wanted, that it was best that we remain apart in society. It was Joe Biden that wrote and championed the crime bill in 1994, which led to the mass incarceration of Black men. And it was Joe Biden who, to this day, says that his mentor and dearest friend in politics was Robert Byrd, a literal KKK member. A literal KKK member, Robert Byrd. And now he wants us to believe that he is a champion against racism. I'm gonna have to pass on this one, Creepy Joe. In each instance that a school shooting has happened, the leftist media and Democrat politicians blame the National Rifle Association. And this is odd, considering not a single member of the NRA has ever committed a mass shooting in this country. Even more odd is the fact that they pretend America is facing a gun violence epidemic when they know that that too is categorically false. In fact, according to FBI statistics, gun homicide rates have been stable to steadily declining for decades. So why would they do that? What is the left distracting from when they blame law-abiding gun owners after a school shooting? I want to be clear here. When a school shooting happens, it is a tragedy, an unspeakable tragedy, a tragedy and horror that is felt in the hearts of every American across both aisles of the political scene. The senseless death of high school children brings pain to everyone. And I have to tell you, it's no different than the continued pain that I feel when I hear about Black children that are being shot in inner cities. But that's a narrative that leftist politicians never, ever want to talk about. I never hear them talking about those children. Let's take a look at Chicago. Since September of 2011, 1,665 children below the age of 17 were shot in Chicago. In 2017 alone, 246 children were shot, 38 of which resulted in their homicides. And so my ask to the Democrat Party today is quite simple. Before you guys try to rid law-abiding gun owners of their right to defend themselves, why don't you rid the urban cities of your policies, which have resulted in more gun deaths across America than you would ever care to acknowledge? Because it is your policies, Democrats, not the NRA's, that continue to encourage father absence in the Black community. It is your welfare policies which promise our women more money if they do not marry the father of their children. And it is your policies, Democrats, not the NRA's, that have sent the Black youth running to the streets and into gangs in search for the paternity that is denied to them within their homes. You routinely and falsely claim that the NRA has blood on its hands as a distraction from what is dripping from your own. Father absence, poverty, and yes, plenty of gun violence. So I say, rather than Elizabeth Warren demanding a full-throated conversation about reparations, whatever that is, full-throated, why doesn't she attempt one regarding the homicide rates in the cities that her colleagues control? Baltimore, Philadelphia, Chicago, Flint, abject poverty and gun violence. But I know why the Democrats don't want to have that conversation. I know exactly why they don't want to talk about that. Because what is happening in the Black community destroys any moral credibility that the Democrats have left. They pretend that they just want stricter gun control, but conveniently leave out the fact that Chicago, the city with the highest gun deaths, already has the strictest gun laws in the nation. Just like they claim to care about protecting the lives of children at the very same time that they champion bills and organizations that allow for the death of millions of them. And I am looking at you, Planned Parenthood. How much blood is on your hands? Democrats do not care about gun control. They care about control, period. And they will continue to use children. They will continue to use tragedies. And they will continue to use Black people to get exactly what they are after, which is power. Because an unarmed society is exactly what a party that has taken a radical left turn towards socialism needs. But there is good news. Two things that I believe will always hold true about America. The first, which our incumbent president stated so brilliantly, is that America will never be a socialist country. And the second is that America, we will never, ever repeal the Second Amendment. My time is running short here, but I would just like to thank Chris Cox and the National Rifle Association for this amazing opportunity to stand upon this stage and to share the truth, which is that if I have anything to do with it, I promise you all, there will be a Blexit, a Black exit from the Democrat Party. God bless you all. Have a great day. I love you.